Next, complete the table of values for y equals to x cubed over 5 minus 2x plus 1. So I just sub in x equals to -4. So -4 to the power of 3 out of 5 minus 2 bracket -4. Please be careful when you press your calculator to include the position of the brackets properly. Yeah. So you will get -3.8 there. Let me just press one more time. But it should be correct. -4 to the power of 3 over 5 minus 2 bracket -4 plus 1, -3.8. So this is the table that you have. Then you go and plot and draw the graph. Okay, so this is my table of values. I'll use it to plot and draw the graph. Normally, it's always 3 marks for plotting and drawing. If I'm not mistaken, this is a cubic curve, right? Yeah, so it should be 3 marks. Yes. It's 3 marks. 1 mark for plotting all the points correctly. So never ever plot the points wrongly. You just plot the points correctly, is 1 mark already. Then 2 marks for drawing a smooth curve. So there are 2 components to the curve. So if I'm not mistaken, each component. It's more of a deduction thing. So if your curve is not smooth, they'll deduct 1 mark. Then if you've got random things never labeled, they'll deduct 1 mark. -4, -3.8 is here. -3, 1.6 comes positive 1.6, so it's here. Then -2, 3.4. -1, 2.8. Zero is 1. 1 is -0.8. 2 is -1.4. 3 is 0.4. And lastly, 4 is 5.8. So very clearly, quite a standard cubic graph shape that you should be quite familiar with. Okay, no complication to this question whatsoever. So just make sure you use your curve rule to join the points properly. Okay. Then after you join the curve, always make sure you label the equation, please. This is what? Y equals to x cubed over 5 minus 2x plus 1. In exam, if your curve is not smooth, it is a 1 mark deduction. But when I say not smooth, it should still be fairly accurate so that you can read off the value somewhat accurately. Not, I say not smooth means you can draw like, you know what I still see students do? I still see students draw curve in Sec 3 like this. Then they tell me this is correct. Sec 3 tell me join your curve like that. These are your don't go and do weird things. Now, the equation x cubed minus 2x blah 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 plus 1 equals to k has two solutions. Use your graph to find the two possible values of k. Any idea what to do here? I give you a hint. This equation is what? This is y, right? So this equation here is y equals to k, right? What kind of line is y equals to k? What kind of line is y equals to k? Horizontal line. How come there can be two solutions only when I have a cubic curve? Generally speaking, if I draw a horizontal line across a cubic curve, how many solutions should I have? I have 3, right? So at where will I only have two solutions? At where will I only have two solutions? How come I will only have two solutions? Where must this line be so that I will only have two solutions? Also, the line that you draw must be long, so that it can intersect. Can you tell me at where will it have two solutions only when I place this horizontal line? Yes, it is your... Do you see that? If I put it at the turning point, how many intersections will it have only? 2. And that's why there will only be two solutions. So this is my y equals to k1. But they say there are two possible lines, right? Where's the other line? At the bottom. At the bottom also can have a minimum point, right? So this is your y equals to k2. Therefore, read off these two values of k. What are the two values of k? You are supposed to read off the y-axis, not the x-axis, because it's the y intersection. And therefore, it is about positive 3.6 and negative 1.4 or 1.5. Can somebody check the answer key and see what the computer solution is? I want to see how far my graph is off the computer solution. I have 3.6 and negative 1.4. Negative 1.4 or 3.4, is it? So I'm very, very close. So even though I think my graph is horrendous, I'm still very close. So both my solutions here will be accepted. Okay, so if it's negative 1.4 or positive 3.4, then the range is plus minus 0.2. Okay, but this is the computer solution. All right, so you must understand what the question is asking for. The only way to have two solutions against a horizontal line on a cubic curve is when you are at the turning point. If it's above the turning point or if it's below the turning point, then it's no longer two solutions. It becomes one solution. It will become only one solution. Okay? It's 3.4. That means what? This is supposed to be the turning point. It cannot be what? You got 3.4. So weird. 3.4 is actually also not the exact answer. 3.5 and 1.4 are still the estimated values. The answer won't be a nice number like that one. Now, let's move on. By drawing a suitable straight line on the graph, on the grid, solve the equation 2x cubed minus 25x plus 20 equals to 0 for 4 freaking marks. This kind of question, because we are using the equation on the curve, right? We must make your y appear. So this is the more standard type where you must make y appear. So you look at this equation, you must transform it until you can make y appear. So 2x cubed minus 25x plus 20 equals to 0. I look at my y, my y is y equals to x cubed over 5 minus 2x plus 1. What do you think is the first logical thing to do here? We always look for the highest power first, right? So my x cubed is here, but this is 2x cubed. How to get x cubed over 5? I need to divide by what? How to get to x cubed over 5? That's the first thing that you should always use. You always use your highest power term. From 2x cubed to get to x cubed over 5, I need to divide by what? Jake, I need to divide by what? You cannot minus the x cubed because you must draw a suitable straight line. If your line has a x square or x cubed, then it is no longer a straight line. Straight line can only be y equals to mx plus c. So I can only see x. I cannot see any other permutation of x. I cannot see over x. I cannot see x squared. I cannot see x cubed. So you cannot just directly minus. So it can only be done by dividing or multiplying by a certain coefficient. So the question here is from here to, the other way around. From here to get to here, I need to divide by what? Obviously, it's a divide. The number becomes smaller, not larger. Divide by? It's not divide by 5, huh? If you have difficulty seeing it, right, you change the form of this. What is x cubed over 5? What's another way of writing x cubed over 5? You all need to know the interchangeable forms of your division versus your fraction presentation, right? X cubed over 5 is the same as 1 over 5 x cubed. So from 2 to become 1 over 5, I need to divide by what? 2 how to become 1 over 5? Hello, if you all cannot calculate mentally, then you all at the very least just press the calculator, right? What do I need to divide by? 10. If you are not sure, then just press the calculator. The calculator for what? For show, cannot be. So you must be able to see that I need to divide by 10 here, and therefore I will get x cubed over 5. Then what will happen to the x? Divide by 10, I get 5 over 2, or 2.5. It actually doesn't really matter. Then divide by 10, I get plus 2 equals to 0. Now I can just directly plus or minus because all I'm doing is to plus x and minus a constant, which will still give me a straight line. So the original equation is minus 2x. Here I have minus, I change it to 2.5, easier to see. Minus 2.5x to become minus 2x, plus or minus? Plus 0.5x to get back 2x, right? Then my plus 2 to become plus 1, I need to minus 1. And so if I do this on the left-hand side, I will do the exact same thing on the right-hand side. And now I will end up with x cubed over 5 minus 2x minus plus 1 equals to 0.5x minus 1. And this is your y. And therefore, you draw y equals to 0.5x minus 1. So the condition is always that this needs to be a straight line. If it's a straight line, you can only have y equals to mx plus c. I cannot see x cubed, I cannot see x squared, and any other funny thing. Okay, so this kind of question, standard, right? It's all about making sure your y can appear in the equation. Okay. So now you need to go and draw this equation, draw this line. Now this line can be drawn either by using a table of value, a set of table of values, or you can actually go and figure out that if the gradient is half, how to get a gradient half. Gradient half is what? 1/2, right? So that means when my y move 1 unit, my x needs to move 2 unit. So my y move 1 unit, and then what else? It's an outward sloping and I pass through -1. So it must pass through here, right? That's my x-intercept, y-intercept, right? -1. My gradient needs to be half. You can sub in something like when x equals to 1. What is the value? When x equals to 1, y is equal to -half. So when x equals to 1, y is -half, would be around here. And then you just draw the straight line. Technically, you don't need the table of values. But if you cannot see it, then you just draw the table of values. Huh? Technically, the examiner doesn't need to see any point. The examiner just needs to see the line. Okay, but if you're going to use a table of values, always check 3 points, please. Standard straight line is always 3 points. If you are too lazy to go and do a table of values, you do what I do here, it's also acceptable. The examiner doesn't need to see the points of intersection actually. The examiner doesn't need to see the points. They just want to see the line. Okay, so this is how the line will look like. And this label it is the line y equals to 0.5x minus 1. And therefore, the question asks you, right? Solve the equation. Solve the equation means what? I find the x values of the graphical solution, which is your points of intersection. So what are the points of intersection? This point over here and this point over here. So I have 3.2, sorry, not 3.2, 3.1, and I have 0.8. So 0.8. Notice that they are not so friendly this time. Oh, wait, wrong. I have one more solution because I need to extend the line all the way to the end, right? If I extend the line all the way to the end, I have one more solution over here. So there are 3 possible solutions, don't miss out. So the third solution here is negative 3 sorry, it's -4. -4. So x equals to 0.8, 3.1, or -4. 3 solutions, and that's why the question is 4 marks. Can you look at the answer key and tell me what's the exact value? Or what's the calculator, what's the computer value? -3.9, 0.8, or 3.05. I don't understand how they can get 3.05. 3.05 is definitely not a calculated value, it's a computer value. Okay, actually can, because one small grid, right? Yeah, 3.05 is acceptable. So this is the exact value. They will give you, this allowance here is plus minus 0.1 because your x-axis is bigger. Okay. So despite my terribly drawn graph, all the values are still acceptable. All right, very important here, to draw the line long enough so that it cuts the curve at 3 points because there are 3 solutions. Okay. Actually, I might have read it wrongly. -4 is right at the edge, right? That means this is actually -3.9. Oops. But anyway, it doesn't matter. 3.9 is the computer answer anyway. Okay, so you look at this entire graph question. How many marks is this whole graph question? This whole graph question is 1 plus 3, 4, 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 2, 10. It's free. Graph questions are always 3 marks. Must get a correct one. Okay, so the complicated part about how to transform the equation, you must know how to do